Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends, partners all around the world, joining us again at another broadcast of our Etoile Europe Leadership Conversation. And it's such a pleasure to be with you in your space, in your home, wherever you're logged in from tonight. And as you know, Leadership Conversation is brought to you by Etoile Europe and is on the UK time, 9 p.m. So for those who are joining us from other time zones as well, really appreciate you. Some it's late afternoon, some it's late in the evening, but wherever you're joining from, we'll welcome you tonight as well. And so tonight, we also going to do a presentation. Our host is being away. She's going to be with us very, very soon again. And so we look forward to seeing that. But over the week as well, we had quite a number of questions that's been raised from our focus this particular month, which is Leadership Determines Everything, and especially from our presentation last week. So we had quite a number of questions that have been gathered, and we said we were just going to attend to some of these questions today so that we can have a two-way conversation, especially with our audience. And that is what we're going to be doing today. If I just recap from last week, by the way, my name is JD Modede, and I'm your host on Leadership Conversation and also the regional ambassador for ITWLA, International Third World Leaders Association Europe chapter. And our focus is leadership determines everything. I gave a quote about 2 weeks ago by Alexander the Great, and how this has evolved over time, and also by our great founder, the person of Dr. Miles Monroe. And it says that an army of uh, an army of sheep led by a lion is always better or will always defeat an army of lions led by sheep. And this literally just shows to us the relationship between leadership and followership as well. And especially when we now begin to say things, a broad statement, a bold statement that leadership determines everything. No matter how dumb sheep are, if they can find leadership through, a different kind of attitude, different from a sheepish attitude, and things like that, they would literally be more effective and deliver beyond what they're known as a sheep. And this is what we've been discussing, and we're looking at it from different perspective, this week. Now, some questions, interesting thoughts that have come through during the course of our last week, and we said, okay, we're going to attend to some of them. And people have been coming up with different thoughts, and we really appreciate, your comments, your audience on this platform. So tonight, some people said, and this came, I think, from Africa, from the point shared, true leadership, if true leadership is not one with a lazy mindset or for the lazy, now what will it cost one to be an effective leader? And I thought to myself, this is a very, very, very important question or discussion itself, because leadership is not just for leading, uh, but it has to be effective. Most of the leadership in our world today, even though there's leadership in some context, and in some contexts there's not, it's just absent, or there's a negative, leadership, if we can put it that way. However, we have leadership in place in some context. However, the leadership is not effective. And what is it that literally makes leadership effective? I'm not going to be able to, go on an exhaustive list. However, I'll touch on some very, very key points tonight. Number one thing that, is very essential and you cannot do it with it. We've always been talking about it. It's always going to be continually in our conversation. And it's the fact that leadership begins with vision. We need, again, visionary leadership, because without vision, you cannot be effective. To what end? Where are you leading us to? Where are you taking us to? It's like, I put it this way. I always remember this conversation between us and great founder and the person of Miles Monroe. He said, look, what gives value to your journey is your destination. So you never really set out on any journey without you concluding on the destination where you're going. The value of your journey is dependent or is determined by the destination where you're heading to. It's like you getting up in the morning, getting up out of your bed, and you have your breakfast, you get ready, you put fuel in your car, and you just head out, get in the car, start the car, and you just start driving. To where? Exactly to where? And this is how a lot of leadership really operates. And especially when we begin to look at some of our developing countries. And this also can easily account for why some of the developing countries are forever trying to develop. And it looks like nothing is happening because we start out on a whole lot of things that some of the leaders tell us, organizations start up, businesses start up, but no clear cut definition of the vision of what we are trying to do, of where we're going. We don't even have, nobody can just come in and pick up the baton from there and continue on the journey because we never clearly define the vision. Vision is from the word optica, that means coming to your view. What is it that you're saying that is driving your journey? So, leadership cannot be effective without a clearly defined vision because the vision is what is going to drive every decision, every move, every resource that we spend or that we're looking for, and we got to be able to translate even the vision into reality. That is the work of a leader, and that is what makes a leader distinguished, effective. Leadership without vision will just be trial and error, will just be a whole, a journey without meaning, without direction. We will pick and choose, we will do things without having any sense of purpose of doing it. And as you know, that vision is, emanates from the reason for which we're doing a thing. It's a picture of our purpose. Very, very important. So, for leadership to be effective, it needs to be visionary. Our world needs visionary men and women. Our nations, our developing nations need vision. We need to have a clear cut of where we're taking our people, taking our organization to, take our families to. So you look. I was reading the book by the king of UAE, My Vision. Fantastic. If you've not read that book, I think you should just read it. Then you know exactly why the nation has become what it is like right now, because it was a clear-cut vision, and everyone is still following that vision. Number two thing I also talked about that will make our leadership effective, and this is the assignment, by the way, of every one of us, because leadership is not just something that's been given just to the few. Everyone is born a leader. However, is everyone really ready, to pay the price of their leadership? Because your gifting or whatever you do carves out your area of leadership. You could be in education, you could be in hospitality, you could be in government, you could be in politics. However, there's something that you're supposed to be uh, serving out there. And the second thing I talked about, that's out of many, many things that you could really think about, is how passionate are you? What are you passionate about? Because if whatever you're doing, you're not passionate about it, there's no passion in it, then why should we follow you? So see, a lot of people assume positions of leadership, but they don't have the passion to drive it, and so they don't command followership. You don't demand followership from people, and that is why you see, when leadership does not operate with okay, I'm looking at some questions there. Okay, and what's the difference between vision and a dream, or vision and what is that again? I'm trying to, and a dream, please. Okay, right, I can see that. Okay, so if passion is not involved, then it's difficult for you to be able to command followership. Why? Because because leadership, put it this way, leadership, emerges when you discover what you're willing to die for. A lot of the people in position of leadership, or we call leaders today, they have not found what they're willing to die for. They rather want to leave because they are manipulating the system, manipulating the people, they're stealing the people's resources. So they want to leave in order to spend those resources on whatever thing that they want it for. Case study, for example, Madiba Mandela of South Africa. Everybody knows the story of Mandela. And Mandela was in prison fighting a cause, in order for his people to be set free, and, appetite and all those crazy things. Now, there was a lot of noise about that, and they offered him, "We'll release you, but don't get back to this nonsense." And he said, "Look, you mean you release me and I'll go out there, I'll be free, and my people will not be free? Rather, just leave me where I'd rather die here. Now you got to understand that this guy studied in England, was a lawyer, had a fantastic, law firm that was doing well until he plugged in, he found this course that was so noble that he thought, no, things cannot continue like this. So he found what he was ready to die for. Leadership is desire, passion rather, is desire that is stronger than death itself. So when you see leaders, they're not people that you can threaten, you know, in any way. Okay. Somebody said, what's the difference between a dream and a vision? Similar but different in text. Now, vision is from the word I said optica. Vision is seeing things as they should or it that things could be. Vision is the picture of your purpose. Vision is the picture of the end that you're seeing right from the beginning. Now, a dream comes in different ways. Dream can be based on the fact that an information is being passed to you. A dream, you can also see your vision in the form of a dream. But vision, you don't need to close your eyes. You don't need to go to bed to say. Some people, sometimes we need to, because we are not really giving attention to what is around us. Sometimes, divinity needs to put us to sleep in order to see it as well. Sometimes when we begin to not pay attention to the vision of what is about to happen, what is ahead of us, then life puts us to sleep in order for it to get our attention. That is why you got to really give attention to your dream as well. So you see, dream can reflect or can show to you what is yet to happen, what is about to happen. It can use to warn you about, and you see some context of it in different writings of different people around different centuries. However, to the young and agile, to men and women, who wants to start off life, you don't start off with a dream, you start off with a vision. When you're beginning to lose steam and getting tired, then dreams are easier to be used to communicate to you. However, also dreams also have different other sources as well. So you can have dreams from different other crazy sources depending on the quality of stuff that you put into your heart as well. The same thing with vision as well. However, vision is very clear cut, especially when you catch a sense of purpose. When you have a clear sense of purpose, it begins to reveal itself to you in pictures. So you see the picture of the purpose of whatever you're supposed to be doing, to bring into certain context. Another way of making leadership effective is your capacity to influence. Your capacity to influence, others, to move from the known present to an unknown future. How do you influence people, towards a noble cause that they're willing to lay down, their resources, their time, their energy, their lives, in order to follow you. You need to be able to provide hope beyond the present situation. You need to develop capacity to influence, and it takes you having a sense of purpose, you having a conviction, you being able to paint a picture of where we're going. You might not even know it, but you have seen it clearly. You are talking about it clearly, that literally it gives people hope in their present situation, and they're willing to say, we're going to go with you. And that way, you literally inspire people that you influence them, and they lay down all of their lives in order to follow you. That is what makes leadership very effective. Let me find one more point. Effective leaders are also servants. They're not people that lord themselves, enforce or manipulate people. When you see true leaders, true leadership is not a pursuit. That's what I'm saying. It's not something that you pursue. Leadership is a conclusion of many things, a result of many things that you do, that the people now give you the privilege of being called the leader. So and it's about service. What are you serving to your world? What are you bringing to your world that defines you, defines the context of your life, defines your leadership? And one thing that you got to understand, that service, either you believe it or not, service is what makes great. A great organization or a big organization, two different things. A great organization is a service-oriented organization. A great nation is a nation that is serving its people all the things that it needs. A great nation, a great one, is because of what it's been given. What impact is it having on the people? And that's where we really need what we call servant leaders or servant leaders, not the people that come, lie to them, manipulate them, take away from them, but rather leadership that is out to serve and make the lives of people better. Effective leaders too are builders. They build culture, they build nation, they develop, they reproduce leaders after themselves. Now, one thing I want us to share between by the way, we're still on one question. Now they were asking a question that, is there a cost? What's the cost? Because they wanted the question, the person that was asking this question want us to also let people know that there's a cost. Now, to be effective as associated cost, that's one thing I want you to know. And are you willing to pay? And that is why the context of this is that even though everyone is born with leadership inside of them, however, not everybody will be willing to pay the price of actually releasing the leader that is inside of them. You got to get this correctly. So a lot of people will remain followers. And by the way, followership is in order for you to become a leader. Followership doesn't mean that you are inferior. Look, you got to follow in order for you to be in the lead. And so, but the people that are taking lead for you to take lead, their cost that you must be willing to pay. Now, let's go through some of them. I'll give you just a few, and these are things that some of us must have noticed even in our lives. Now, number one thing, and I tell you, I deal with this like every day of my life. And there are tools or there are keys that will make you know that indeed you're making certain moves, you're moving forward from where you are. Listen to this. Opposition. You must be ready to face opposition or to handle opposition. Look, if you're going to take the lead in anything in life, if you're going to be ahead in life, you're going to be the lead singer, you're going to be the lead chef, you're going to be the president of the nation, you're going to be the lead of your community, you're going to be the lead or the head of your family, you're going to face you got to know how to handle opposition. Whoever is ahead is the one that is going to face whatever is resisting also movement. It is the one that is able to overcome the opposition that allows the ones coming behind to be able to go freely. Are you ready to handle opposition? Because the seats, sometimes people are that they're coveting, leadership positions, but they don't think about the opposition that's there. Listen to some of the comments, especially in some of our developing, even all around the world. Forget developing or not developing or developed world. Whoever bears the crown is the one that everything opposes. You have an opposition party, you have an opposition leader, you have an opposition, system. Everything just like is against you. And you're thinking, what did I do? I didn't do nothing. Yeah, because what you did was you took the lead. And the same goes for things like criticism as well. It's a sign that you're doing something. You don't critique nothing, and leaders need to get used to criticism rather than fight it, rather than get, depressed. Some people, they can't handle criticism, and so they go into depression, and they rather take the back seat rather than take the lead because they don't want to be criticized. Listen, criticism is so good for leaders because you can use it as a blessing. You can use it to check yourself, use it to correct yourself, use it to put checks in place. Because sometimes you might not know what really people are saying. So there's always something inside criticism that you can use to your advantage. And that's one thing you got to excuse me. You got to be able to use criticism to do. Antagonism as well is another key thing. People will hate you for no reason at all. You wonder why people just hate leaders. I hear some presidents, some leaders of nations, leaders of organizations, and people know nothing about them, do not know how come they made certain decisions, do not know what they're going through, and they just hate them. They hear essay, passed over from, number 100, and they'll be telling you like they actually were there. Now, leaders don't try and get everyone to like them. And that is why we always say this, that a politician is not by default a leader. You will need to go from that politicking where you're the very popular one, where everybody likes you, transit into a leadership position whereby you will be willing to go by yourself in spite of what people do or say, in spite of either people want you, in spite of your popularity. Are you still willing to go with your conviction? Now leaders don't try and get everyone to like them, because when you try to do that, then you have to compromise your values in order to make everybody happy. Now, that is one of the problems that we have with leadership, that our leaders are so compromised because they're trying to satisfy everyone. Leaders are people who have found what they're willing to die for. Another cost is cost of relationship, because you will lose some key relationships, you will lose friends, you will lose family, because once you are purpose driven, once you are driven by vision, now not everybody wants to go to where you're going, but are you willing to let go of them and keep going? Are you willing to let go? Are you willing to go by yourself? So once you catch a sense of purpose and you begin to see it, that what you are saying is what is going to drive you. Now, there's some people who would like you just to be where you are. Some people are comfortable in the mess. They're comfortable where you are. They're just okay with this kind of life, mediocre life they're living. They're just comfortable where they are, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, they're just going to be there. However, you are saying something more, and it's driving you. It's like you're possessed. And some relationship don't want that. So leadership will cost you. For effective leadership, it will cost you relationships as well. And you must be willing to let go. You must be willing to let go. It's not that they're bad people. It's not that you're a bad person. You just have something else to go to. Leaders also are lonely people. Listen, if you are head front, you are right in the front. When you're up front, there's no one there with you. There's always going to be somebody ahead, and it's going to be a place that you're the only one there. It's a sign that you are in the lead, because sometimes you're the only one that believes in what you can see. You're the only one that believes that vision. You're the one that believes what you saw, and you must be willing to go with it, because if you're not willing to go by yourself to what you believe, then why should we go with you? Even you don't believe it. And that is why, being in a place where everybody likes you or making everybody satisfied before you go, that's why a lot of leadership are not able to deploy vision, because a lot of people around them don't want to go there, don't like what they're saying to them. So they're trying to satisfy everybody, and you can't develop. People will not understand you. That's why dreamers, and I'm going to take from that context of what's that. Dreamers live in their own dreams. Now, you got to understand one thing I missed from that question that the person just asked. Also, leaders are you got to do something called daydreaming. So one thing is dreaming, one thing is daydreaming. Daydreaming is just like vision as well. That literally you are awake, your mind is your imagination is way beyond where you are. And all those things are pictures coming to us, showing us how things could be, not how things are. So literally, you are in your own world, and not everybody wants to go to that world that you are saying. Another cost of leadership is fatigue. Now, and I think I might just end it on this one, is that you can't change your world doing a 9 to 5. You can't live a 9 to 5 life and change your world. I just want to wake up at 9, have a cup of coffee, and by 5 I want to be done. Because your life is your career. When you're sleeping, you're working. Wherever you are, you're just deploying yourself. Because as a leader, when you catch a sense of vision and purpose, you become an assignment to your world. You can't, and the thing is that you can't have real impact in life. You can't have real impact going to bed at 9 p.m. Because men who achieve greatness, they do it while other men are sleeping. They're busy through the night working while some other people are snoring. They're trying to come up with an idea that by the morning they give other people a job to do, go deploy what they've been thinking all through the night. That's why true leaders never tell you that they're tired. And that's why you need passion, because your passion is one thing that keeps you awake. Even when you're tired, it keeps you away from lunchtime. You forget lunch, you forget dinner, that literally say, you've not eaten anything today. Oh, I'll just consume by the thing I'm trying to do. And that's why A leader never really sleeps until the assignment is done. Can I add one thing? Leaders is going to cost you fear. That is why leaders are fearful people, and it's not a bad fear like that. It's a positive fear because fear of what you say things and you're thinking, how am I going to do this thing? Your word begin to create pressure on you, but you cannot achieve what you have not declared. So leaders always say the things that they see, and once they say it, then they have an obligation to deliver it. But most of the time, they can't really explain how. That's why you cannot lead silently. And when you see leaders, they're always saying something about what they see, what they believe as well. They see the vision, it's so real, and they announce and now start thinking how. By the way, I'm going to pause here tonight because of our time. I've got a surprise for us as well. Can I just quickly share this as well? By the way, we're going to be having the chairman of Ituala, the person of Miles Monroe Jr. on our broadcast next week as well. And I want you to please invite friends, family. Don't watch later, join us real time. And if you've not subscribed to this channel yet, please do subscribe as well. And if you want to know more about Ituala, by the way, Ituala is open for membership. You want to be part of this wonderful group as well. I'm going to give you more details into that at our next week broadcast. By the way, we're back on the same channel, same time, 9 p.m. UK time, next week, Monday as well. But you want to know a little bit more about Ituala, please listen to this. Watch this clip and it shows you a bit more about what Ituala is. God bless you.
Hi, my name is Miles Monroe Jr., and I'm the chairman of the board for the International Third World Leaders Association. Our organization was birthed to respond to and address the critical need for quality, effective leadership development and training in the emerging developing nations.
Our vision is to establish a global network of leaders from every discipline,
committed to the highest standards of excellence in leadership training, personal development,
mutual accountability, and fraternal support, implementing relevant and innovative leadership philosophy based on time-tested precepts, principles, and values.
Our mission is to influence the destiny of developing third world nations through leadership training,
personal development, supportive relationships, and global networking.
Our purpose is to provide transformational solutions
in response to the dynamic leadership needs of the emerging third world developing nations.
Our goal is to cultivate leadership commitment
to produce leaders
dedicated to the empowerment of their people,
the progressive well-being of their citizens,
and the betterment of their nation.
The strategic approach captured in the slogan coined by our founder, Dr. Miles Monroe,
was transforming followers into leaders and leaders into agents of change. Our focus is national development through transformational leadership,
transforming nations, communities from the inside out.
Join us in ushering in this new era of our organization.
We are tasked with carrying this vision forward,
and we are devoted to ensuring that we leave an unwavering legacy.
The organization that produces effective leaders
with global reach and influence.